Father Ben's stomach rumbled menacingly. He shouldn't have let Emily talk him into a Limburger sandwich. He had thought liking kimchi would help with the stinky cheese and sauerkraut. Maybe not. As predicted, he was 1 and out of the Super Smash Bros. Tournament. He would have done better if the teenage boys would stop throwing popcorn at the screen. Probably not. Next year, the losers bracket would play Guitar Hero. He had about half an hour before dodgeball started. He had to get his stomach under control. Going to the back of the cafeteria, Ben let himself into the kitchen. As he poked around, he had a vision of the disapproving frown on Debbie's face. The head cook was the queen of her domain, and he was just a minion. Maybe he should write a thank you note and apologize for messing up the kitchen. Huge pots and pans, a strainer that could fit a whole turkey, the largest whisk Ben had ever seen. He was lost in an ocean of gleaming stainless steel. Who knew you could buy a 10-pound pail of Augustin Farms dehydrated potato dices? And the kitchen had 10 of them. That was a lot of potatoes. He passed a rack of supersized canned veggies, 2 of paper products, 40 pounds of sugar, 36 pounds of flour. Those students really could put away food. He kept looking. There it was, back in the furthest corner of the storage room, like the Holy Grail, his salvation, bicarbonate of soda. Through the back window, he could hear the screams and groans from the dodgeball arena. Ben carefully put everything back into place and washed up. He left the kitchen, locking the door behind him. He knew what kind of trouble the Super Smash Bros. Competitors could get into when the supervision wasn't looking. 1 year at camp, the junior counselors had broken into the kitchen at night and wrapped his whole car in plastic wrap, making a huge plastic bow to tie on his antenna. While it may have been a sign of affection, it was also such a waste. He walked through the cafeteria, out into the hall, checking that the gates to the classrooms were down and locked. Then outside to the shouting match of dodgeball. The arena was set up in the middle of the bus loop in front of the school. No one could argue line calls if the difference was between grass and concrete. As Ben approached the dodgeball arena, better known as the bus turnaround, he looked at the crowd. These were the people he wanted. Teens, sports lovers, a smattering of others. From the dirt on knees and t-shirts, it looked like the girls were not just cheering the boys on. Good. It was about time. He saw Emily, liberally smeared with dirt, leaning against a tall young man. Ben knew her boyfriend went to Connor, a local public school. Dodgeball seemed to be a great tool for evangelizing to the youth. They should have covered that at seminary. A bit further down, there was a block of middle school boys. Josh, Ryan, and Andrew were the ones who had challenged him to this battle royale. It looked like they all brought their older brothers. It looked like those older brothers all played football or rugby. This might be a bad thing. Hanging out on the fringes, Ben saw Jacob Lindley. He was talking to one of the Proto-Bengals players behind Andrew. A few minutes ago, he had been talking to the middle school girls. Poor guy. With all the difficulties of his home life, no wonder he couldn't find a crowd to be at home with. He made his way over to one of the referees, Dan Jones. Dan, thank you so much for being willing to referee this. Actually, Ben, I was wishing I had thought of it myself. Once the boys got over 8 years old, it was all I could do to drag them here. Some years they got into a bit of trouble. This way they get to blow off some steam and support the church. How's it going? Has anyone gotten hurt yet? Well, we played a test match yesterday, just my 5 boys against some of the Boy Scouts, who were taking a break from telling the cars where to park. The boys were just too rough with the balls from the gym. I took the guys out to Walmart to find a safer alternative. We ended up buying some small foam footballs. They are harder to catch, and even when my oldest threw one at my chest, it wasn't too bad. What do you think are my chances of coming out unscathed? I've already risked my life and stomach on a Limburger sandwich. 1 year I got stuck working that booth. I forgot to bring a plastic bag to stick my sweatshirt in for the ride home. My car stunk for months. Don't worry about the match. One of my boys is on your team, and he promised to sacrifice himself to save your good name if you look like you need help. He already told me how bad you were in the video tournament. Good thing dodgeball is only free play, or they'd be out for your blood. The game on the field was down to only one player on either side. They were circling in the arena, taunting one another. All the footballs were in the far court. The near court player was ready to catch anything thrown at him. It was a stalemate. Dan yelled out, 30-second timer. If you don't throw the ball before the shot clock runs out, the game is forfeit. And in an aside, he said, I know these guys. They'll stand that way all night just so they don't lose. The far player threw the football, and the near one missed. When he bent down to grab it, he was hit on the shoulder with a second football. With that, it was time to face the next opportunity for humbleness.